Sundown, creatures and gods around. Beware, prepare, it's dangerous. They'll linger in the dark. Climb from below. Temples and tombs will fall down. Explore the realms. What is meant to be, take it all. Obey, hear the voice of God. And the best come to your sacred land. Make way to the afterlife. What was once your palace, now your grave. Awaken your soul. Dive and devour the Red Sea. Take control and drown the enemies. Across the vast wild desert. Move your feet along to the rhythm of the sand. Rise and sharpen up your spear. Aim your bow, make them bow down in fear. Chaos and new beginnings. Find your destiny and the magic and the omen of the mind.
Hey, to have peace, yes, Lord, there must be strife. I already see the end of life. I accepted death, my eyes are open. I read and told them there's a light. Eternal life awaits me, yes. No one can dare deny me. I'll gladly give my life for my people. Can my kingdom point the way? That's a small price to pay. To God to pray every day. To the promised land, I understand the higher the highest height and the lower the lowest depths. I'm not afraid of my last breath. Life ain't nothing but a test. May the gods only know what's next.
Alarms, hear the voice of God, and the best come to your sacred land. Make way to the afterlife. What was once your palace, now your grave. Awaken your soul. Dive and devour the Red Sea. Take control and drown the enemies. Across the vast wild desert. Move your feet along to the rhythm of the sand. Rise and sharpen up your spear. Aim your bow, make them bow down in fear. Chaos and new beginnings. Find your destiny in the magic and the omen of the mind.
My eyes are open, eternal morning. The crown is golden, I have been chosen. My eyes are open, eternal morning. The crown is golden, I have been chosen.
Awaken your soul. Dive and devour the Red Sea. Take control and drown the enemies. Across the vast wild desert. Move your feet along to the rhythm of the sand. Rise and sharpen up your spear. Aim your bow, make them bow down in fear. Chaos and new beginnings. Find your destiny in the magic and the omen of the mind. Wake up, sundown, creatures and gods around. Beware, prepare, it's dangerous. They'll linger in the dark. Climb from below. Temples and tombs will fall down. Explore the realms. What is meant to be, take it all. Obey, hear the voice of God, and the best come to your sacred land. Make way to the afterlife. What was once your palace, now your grave. Awaken your soul. Dive and devour the Red Sea. Take control and drown the enemies. Across the vast wild desert. Move your feet along to the rhythm of the sand. Rise and sharpen up your spear. Aim your bow, make them bow down in fear. Chaos and new beginnings. Find your destiny in the magic and the omen of the mind.
Hey, to have peace, yes, Lord, there must be strife. I already see the end of life. I accepted death, my eyes are open. I read and told them there's a light. Eternal life awaits me, yes. No one can dare deny me. I'll gladly give my life for my people. Can my kingdom point the way? That's a small price to pay. To God to pray every day. To the promised land, I understand the higher the highest height and the lower the lowest depths. I'm not afraid of my last breath. Life ain't nothing but a test. May the gods only know what's next.
Alarms, hear the voice.
What is going on, Governors? Chiscool here, and today we're casting Ark of Osiris League, and we're back in the realm of Anubis this time. We're going to be casting WIB versus 60MX. This should be a very exciting matchup with really high-quality gameplay, and honestly, this could have been a semi-final, but we're in the round of 16. So for one of these teams, it will be an unlucky and unfortunate dismissal from the Ark of Osiris League playoffs, even though I personally think both of these teams could have advanced much further if they had been placed in other parts of the bracket. So we'll jump into the ladder in-game so that I can show you a little bit of information about this matchup, and then shortly thereafter, we will jump into the matchup itself. So we're going to be casting the bottom right portion of this round of 16. That is WIB, who is undefeated, but came close to being defeated against SJ32. They have a 62,578 point average. From here, we look to the other side of the bracket, and it's 60MX. And they have a loss. But that loss is against 60GT. Well, wait a minute. That's the Osiris League champions and also their own kingdom. So sure, you could count that as a loss, but alternatively, you could look at the other two matches against 885N, which was a complete blowout, and against R75, which was a complete blowout, and you might draw a different conclusion. 60MX is a super powerful Ark team, and they only lost by 8,000 points to 60GT. Now, in fairness, when you're fighting your own kingdom, I mean, I don't know, like, how real of a match was it? We can only assume both teams gave it their all, but the point that I'm trying to make is that 60MX is a really good team. So who do you think is going to win between WIB from 1846 and Hawks 60MX from 1960? I am not sure who it's going to be, quite frankly, and I'm very much looking forward to this matchup. Now, whoever wins here will have to battle against Sin 7. Sin 7 had a very narrow victory against DQ 39. And although it's hard to say who will win against Sin 7, I think that whoever advances here will likely get the win there. And let me tell you, having 60MX and 60GT on the same side of the bracket is pretty tough, because that means one of these teams will advance to the finals, potentially. But not both of these teams. In other words, only one team from each kingdom can progress into the finals of Ark of Osiris League. So you can have two alliances from the same kingdom win the city theme that gives training speed, but only one can go to the championship. So this is pretty exciting to see, and in a moment we'll be able to enter into the matchup. I will point out that there are a lot of matches happening now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches happening at 15 UTC for this bracket. So a lot of action about to unfold for this particular realm, that is the realm of Anubis. So let's take a moment and jump right back into the caster's booth so that I can jump into the matchup. So we're going to get that set up now. The matchup will be starting momentarily. Drop your comments in the chat for who you think is going to be the winner. I don't know, man. I mean, I think that underestimating either of these teams is obviously a mistake. But who is going to win, sort of emerge victorious? I mean, if we get a quick look while we're waiting for the match to load up for how people put their Oryx, I jump to the realm of Anubis. It looks like for WIB versus 60MX, about 60%, maybe a little less than that, are putting their Oryx on 60MX. So it is a relatively close split. Okay, but now I should actually be able to enter into the matchup to view it. We'll go now to the realm of Anubis. Watch it burn versus the Hawks. We're going to enter into the matchup. In just a moment, I'll be able to bring you with me, and we'll see how they do. WIB has 4 wins on their banner for KVK. 60MX has 8 wins on their banner. They are, to my knowledge, fully and completely undefeated, which is very, very uncommon. Very uncommon. I don't know that there are actually many kingdoms that can claim that same feat, if any. So now we jump into the match. And as I was describing, it is a really close betting. Sure, it is in favor of 60MX. It's about 56.2 to 43.8. So people do think that the Hawks in red are going to get the win today. But again, what do you think it's going to be? Drop it into the chat. Drop that hype. If we get a look at the players on the field, the power levels so far look pretty reasonable. I mean, between 80 and 115 million power, nothing too crazy here. Nothing, except Ahmad Aziz at 267 million power. Okay, what else do we got? Benjamin Ayubi at 428 million power. Ace at 243 million power. Okay, so there are a few Titans lurking in this matchup. 177 million power for that player. Okay. Arvix, 379 million power. Yeah. Big power. On the other side of the map, Laguna's team from 846. Looking at the player power, nothing too crazy, although I imagine we'll see Makote in the matchup. In just a moment, the matchup begins. Seeker of Chaos, 208 million power. And 3, 2, 1, the matchup starts. Here we go, everybody. Folks are on their way into the map. Fast-moving cavalry looking to do work. Last time we spectated WIB, Laguna was able to grab the enemy team's obelisk. A power move. So let's see if he's able to pull this off again. We're going to spectate the route from Laguna and see where he goes. He's on his way to the outpost. He'll capture the outpost, probably capture his own obelisk, and then push downfield. We're looking for an exciting play from Laguna again. The thing is, you may be able to pull off those sorts of plays against a weaker opponent. But again, 60MX, it does feel unlikely that Laguna will be able to get the same win he got in the last matchup. With that said, you always try for the win, because if you're successful, it's a huge advantage. Laguna grabbing the obelisk. Now moving downfield. Or is he? He stopped. He's defending his own obelisk. So this time, not going to execute the same offensive maneuver. I feel like that's probably smart. It's best that you hold on to your own obelisks. Sultan, for 60MX, grabs the obelisk. I will note that WIB was a few seconds earlier, but not by much. It is a roughly even opener, and this is going to be an exciting matchup. As I was saying, I would argue this is a semi-finals quality matchup, but we are in the top 16, and sometimes that's just how the luck unfolds for who your opponents are. We should expect to see big offensives through the Shrine of War and toward the Desert Altar. It's the same song and dance every matchup in that regard. And although there is fog now, some things about the design of the map simply haven't changed. And the reality is that this is the place where it is most advantageous to make your offensive. Ahmad Aziz, rally going downfield. Justinian with Nevsky. Marches starting to assemble by the altars. Offensive play by WIB. And offensive play by 60MX. Moving very quickly, hugging the inside. Where are they going? What are they up to? This is what I want to know. They're creeping onto the temple area, but hidden from view. You see, here's the visual range. Blue sees this. Red sees this. They don't really know that they're there, but they can guess. Blue is creeping forward. They're like, where are these guys? Terry Foster with the rally. 60MX heading over to the obelisk. And reinforcements chilling by the obelisk. Is Terry Foster about to steal the obelisk from WIB? Here comes the march. Landing in a few seconds. Could this be an incredible play? Obelisk. Assuredly it's garrisoned. Zeno. Zeno says, hell nah. You aren't taking my obelisk. Not today. Justinian is good, but oh, maybe he is good enough. That damage is unbelievable. Reinforcements heading into the obelisk. Swarming now here to support. Turns out that Nevsky Justinian will hit you with the power of knowledge. And they hit so hard, in 10 seconds they could get this obelisk. This obelisk could fall. It needs reinforcements. There they are. Boom. Last second. Wow. WIB cutting it close. Leaving themselves exposed to an attack on their obelisk and holding on barely before they stabilize. That was almost a disaster. Meanwhile, battles in on the desert altar. And meanwhile, hold up. Both obelisks under pressure. Ahmad Aziz with the rally canceling. They break the rally, and where are they going? I thought they could have took that garrison, perhaps. Instead, they're repurposing the troops, likely to attack the Shrine of War. No, just kidding. They are giving up their assault entirely and resetting their marches. Very interesting. 60MX sitting on 3 altars off the rip. Are you not excited? Drop some hype in the chat. 60MX, Jadwiga, Captain. This altar is looking super clean for 60MX. Some pressure by WIB on the Sky altar. Looking like they're thinning out and probably not likely to get the capture. It is actually hard to say. This could be enough offensive pressure to get the job done. In fact, WIB will flip the Sky altar before first capture points have been assigned. A great offensive by WIB, and they are playing the backfield disruption, taking the outposts as they go, although it looks like perhaps they are a little caught out here at the outpost of Seth. Back around the map. Desert Altar. Very safe for 60MX. But 60MX has a problem. All their marches are here. If they want to make it to the mid-fight, they need to reset these marches now. So we'll see if 60MX goes in to reset. I expect they will. It does look like they are posturing to hit the obelisk, however. Some of them anyways. Some of them going for the faster reset on the cities. I personally like the hit on the obelisk. I want to take the darn thing, generally speaking. So I would generally prefer to go for the ob. Although, what would they do if they got the ob? I don't know. I mean, they're not getting to middle in time. So it's kind of a weird situation. In some ways, you want to swing in on the highest power city you can get your hands on. Here we can see the pressure in on the ob. 60MX did take the Shrine of War from WIB, and it is a 2-altar setup for both sides. Obelisk is looking super healthy. Powit's City, however, is getting heavily swarmed. You know, the funny thing about this is that you're not actually trying to get anything done, but if you pick a low enough power city, you can put a meaningful number of their troops in the hospital and force them to use some healing speed-ups. That is a little brutal, but this is the reality of the situation. Teams at this quality of play are expected to do as much healing as they need to do to get the job done for the team. They may even get the burn here, so if Powit is not paying attention, they actually could get ported back to the starting zone. It is very easy to open up your wall here and to gem heal the wall. I would recommend doing that in this particular instance especially. This is the part where we find out if Powit was paying attention. But wait a minute. Instead of actually getting the burn, they split off their troops. I would have just finished the burn. Finish the burn. Take the opportunity to potentially port out the city. I mean, if they weren't paying attention, they would have gotten ported. Instead, they're reinforced. And we need to go look at other portions of the map because hello, WIB. Woo-wee! They are making moves down the field. Is 60MX even going for the arc? Or is 60MX simply late to mid because of how long it took them in the north? I'm honestly not sure. But what I know is that WIB is very well positioned to take this arc. Meanwhile, the whole left side of the map flips red. Sky Altar, red. Shrine of War, red. This is looking very good from a structure standpoint for 60MX. But what about the arc? Well, they take the Shrine of Life. Now they have both of them. 10% total march speed and health. WIB is going to win the middle, but did 60 GT, or rather 60MX, even show up for middle? It doesn't look like it. WIB splitting forces. A bunch of folks putting pressure on the Desert Altar. Interesting that MX is not going for this arc. Or are they? What do we not see, chat? What could they be up to? Are they going to port cities in? Or port players in? What trick is up their sleeve? Or are they actually surrendering the first arc to try to take all the buildings? Maybe it's just that simple. Laguna wants to know. Drops a sentry. He sees they're going sort of to the middle. Not really. What are they up to? Obelisk capture. Uh-oh. This could be a disaster. 2 minutes on the clock. At the end of the 2 minutes, players with 400 million power are going to port in. And that is a disaster. Could this be their plan? It sure does look like it. MX going for a round of buildings. Ambush attempt from behind. MX striking the arc carriers now that there aren't very many of them left. 10 marches collapsing in on the temple. Meanwhile, WIB committing twice as many. They don't want to lose this free arc. And they certainly don't want to be outmaneuvered. Uh-oh. MX starting to commit to arc. Is it possible that WIB fell for the trick and moved too many marches away from center? It is possible. WIB could be in trouble. Obelisk, 35 seconds. if they don't take this obelisk, hundreds of millions of power is going to pour it into their doorstep and swarm Zero cities. This is a crisis. 15 seconds. 10 seconds until crisis. It's a race to the finish. And wow, WIB averts the crisis in as close a measure as you can manage. Good defense. Scary what was about to happen there. WIB recommitting to the middle. Arc is relatively in their hands, except one small problem. 60MX is not done. WIB comms have got to be hectic in this moment. In 1 second, they're fretting for the obelisk. In the next, they're fretting for the arc. 2 rallies cruising down the middle. Will they cancel them? Where are they going? I assume these were reinforcements intended for the middle. But the rallies are still going. Where are they going? What are they up to? I kind of would have assumed you'd break the rallies here and support this mid-brawl, because despite the fact that it looked like MX was giving the arc for free, this arc is anything but free. Three altars in the hands of WIB, and possibly an arc. But 60MX has something to say about that. They're not ready to give away this arc just yet. More WIB arriving on scene. More 60MX looking to support. WIB is in blue. MX is in red. The arc looks secure, but looks in Arc of Osiris can be deceiving. More structures flipping blue. Could it be that 60MX's plan has backfired? Could it be that if they had just stuck to good basics, they would be the owner of this arc? I think that is entirely possible. I am concerned for 60MX in this situation, because WIB is running away with this arc, and it looks like MX was not really able to get much of a building advantage. 660 points per minute for WIB. From a structure standpoint, WIB is cruising. And so are their provision scores. Oh my goodness. Wait a minute. This looks like not the right score. Okay, the team names look right. The top score looks right. The rest of the details here are from the last matchup. I was like, how do they have so many provisions? Oh, wait a minute. How are there 10,000 points of arc? Okay. I feel better about that now. I understand what's going on. I really was like, how did we all sleep on the provisions meta? How is this possible? The arc is cruising. It looks safe. We know that there's no one actually going to attack it. However, if we look at Blue's visual range, they honestly have no clue if danger lays in waiting. Looking around the map, I've got to wonder what 60MX has planned next. I would kind of assume that the 60MX punching power is in fact stronger than WIB's. So I wonder if this really is as simple as an audible having been called. Because 60MX punched so hard at the start, perhaps it took too long to reset. And because it took too long to reset, they decided to improvise rather than go for arc. That's my best guess as to why this match is looking the way that it is. MX moving downfield. This matchup is closer than I think people might have expected it to be. Alter under pressure. MX opting for a Xeno garrison. Justinian rally with Nevsky doing work. WIB closes downfield, but are gummed up by 60MX defenders. Desperate to get into the rally, WIB breaks free from the pack. Rally collapses. A second too late. That Justinian rally would have been nice to maintain. Terry Foster rally going downfield. Looking to score points on the Shrine of Life. Skyalter now getting swarmed. MX did their job delaying these marches, allowing the garrison to deal with the rally first. But now that the marches are here, MX is in a little bit of trouble. That's a lot of swarmers, but many of them are actually super low health. So a moderate amount of reinforcement to this garrison could get the job done. But is there anyone left to reinforce? One player goes in, but one is not going to be enough. Two players go in, but two is not going to be enough. This garrison is in trouble. And I don't know why these marches are retreating. That can't be intentional. Bit of panic here. The garrison flips blue. The Ark has in fact been captured. And for those of you who thought this would be an easy slam dunk MX win, that is not the case. Rally in on the Shrine of War, but it's weak. It won't be able to capture it. Pressure at the Skyaltar. A lot of pressure. Here comes WIB. Rally plus swarm. Justinian clashing with Jadwiga. Hidden sentry deployed. Looking for intel in the backfield. Meanwhile, garrison collapsing. 60MX not going to be able to hold the Desert Altar. It flips blue. This means that WIB is actually in control of this matchup. They have not only won the first arc, but they are scoring a lot of points. This matchup is not as straightforward as people thought it might be. Players going to the middle. This time, not going to accept being late. 60MX is here much too early. Or is it? Because WIB is matching. Both teams now committing to the second arc. WIB is getting there first. MX is getting there second. It's close enough, however, that both teams are here in time. Looking at the visual range, red sees this. Blue team sees this. WIB knows what's here. They see what's coming. A well-placed sentry gives a lot of information. Drop your hype in the chat for this mid-brawl that's about to go down. Which team do you think wins this mid-fight? Will it be WIB or 60MX? According to the poll, for who do you think will win this match, 66% think that 60MX will pull through and be victorious. But WIB has the lead by almost 3,400 points. $60MX looking to engage. 60MX creeping forward again. WIB falling back. They're so close they could hold hands. 60MX motioning forward, but then back into the ball. Looks like WIB's stepping backward did buy themselves more time to get another dozen marches of support. A wise choice with 1 minute and 30 till the arc spawns. MX content with their position for now. Huge brawl about to begin. Possible early engage from WIB. WIB player moves in. Advance of the pack. Dust up. Activated. This brawl is beginning. Ready or not. Where are the abilities? Total vision. Activated for MX. To the death. Activated for WIB. This is where it happens. Heaven's Grace. Activated. Big healing for both sides. Heaven's Grace for WIB. There's just one problem. To the death and Heaven's Grace don't stack. Do they realize that the 30 players that received To the Death are not receiving the heal? Maybe they do. Or maybe this was a WIB oversight. Or maybe I need to refresh myself on the description of the skills, but I don't think I'm wrong. Last I checked, To the Death makes it so you can't receive healing. What happens now? Who is winning? We can zoom out and do a sad face check. Where are the sad faces going? As 846 is famous for saying, there are sad faces going both ways. But actually, I think 846 is quite dominant in this encounter. 846 running with the arc and looking to pull a 2-arc lead. I mean, look, 2/3 of you did not expect this outcome. 2/3 of you voted for MX as the winner in the poll in the chat. And the opposite is what is happening. WIB emerges victorious from the second arc. Their voice chat has to be ecstatic from this big win. From here, marches swing around the outside toward the desert altar. MX figuring out, what the heck do we do? We just lost 2 arcs. How are they going to recover? They really don't have enough players downfield to get to that arc. WIB interference will stop them. So 60MX is left reeling to figure out, how the heck do they handle this situation? With 1,200 people watching, let's drop some hype on the stream, throw a like on the stream, and consider subscribing to the channel for more Ark of Osiris League casting. You'll also find my channel linked in the description for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos designed to help you get value and smash your enemies. Hidden Sentry deployed. Looking for information. Red team wants to know what Makote is doing. And Makote is headed down to the Sky Altar to defend it. Hera YSS in the garrison. Now looking at Jan Ziska in the garrison. Justinian rally with a swarm like this is terrifying. It was my job to captain this building. I know this is intimidating. The pressure too strong. MX is going to take this garrison. WIB is looking quite strong overall, although 3 altars in the hands of MX. 440 points per minute to 590 points per minute. The Ark, chilling, although Shrine of Life actually under contention. To win from this position, MX needs 2 arcs. They're not going to get 2 arcs. Maybe they get 1. I don't think there will be 2 arcs of opportunity. WIB looking to delay. 10 minutes left on the arc hold before it's reset to the middle. That leaves 15 minutes in the match. 8 minutes to spawn in an arc. There's only really room for 1 more arc in this matchup if WIB is allowed to hold the arc. So what this means is that MX has to find a way to secretly take out this carrier, which could be done. It could be done and take the arc and score it. I mean, if they do that, I think they actually win the match. If MX could ambush this carrier and score the arc, they win the match. I don't think that WIB will let that happen, though. It would be such an incredible maneuver to pull off. It feels super unlikely. Meanwhile, MX holding on to 3 altars. I mean, 3 altars, if they did that for the remaining 25 minutes of the match, it would be nice. But is that even enough? Is that even enough points of lead? Not really. Not when the buildings keep changing hands. So this situation is starting to look dire for 60MX. Even though the scoreboard is relatively close, this is not looking good for them. Around the map we go. WIB, holding on to the Shrine of Life. Why would you retreat these marches is something I probably will not understand. Wouldn't you want to reset them by sad facing? Regardless, here comes the pressure to the Sky Altar. Rally on its way. Nevsky, and of course that's got to be Justinian. The new absolute powerhouse rally. Funny enough, it is a powerhouse rally, but not a powerhouse field march. WIB looking to defend the Sky Altar that should be in the hands of 60MX. MX attempting the rally plus swarm. Captain absent. Ooh, late swap to Hera with YSS is going to cost them dearly. WIB reinforcements coming downfield. Will it be enough? New garrison captain ready to step in. New captain enters. WIB cleared the rally. Now they clear the field. Then they stabilize. This matchup is looking more and more like it's the WIB match to win. From here, 3 altars in the hands of WIB. Pressure in on the final altar for 60MX. If you're in this position in the WIB camp, you have got to be feeling good. But as the chat is saying, it's way too early to celebrate. Justinian Nevsky, Red Hulk's rally, smashing in on the Desert Altar. With the capture of this building, WIB will hold the overwhelming majority of the map. This is a bad situation for MX. However, MX not content to surrender this position. New captain arrives at the Desert Altar, and the swarming marches are going to clear WIB out. They hold on to their one altar and look to reclaim all 3 altars. Pressure, Sky Altar. Pressure. Okay, obliterated at the Desert Altar. GG. Don't mind my hype. Pressure at the other Sky Altar. MX attacking many places simultaneously while the arc chills. Zhuge Liang looking to captain. Definitely suboptimal, but it might be the best they've got. Xeno captain stepping in. That will be hard to deal with. The tried and true Xeno captain. Meanwhile, minute by minute, how is the scoreboard changing? It's going in favor of WIB. Hidden sentry deployed to the middle. Teams are starting to prep for the push to mid. It might seem early, but remember, we've got 4 minutes of hold on this arc. Sentries last 12 minutes. It's 8 minutes till the next arc will spawn after this is captured. So that sentry deployment is giving them the information they'll need. Arc is resting. 3 minutes 45 remaining. Vision deployed downfield. WIB wants to know if they're going to pressure in through the desert altar. And WIB has got enough people here that they probably could swarm this garrison if it weren't for all the marches on their way to support. WIB overwhelming the desert altar. Jan Ziska melting under the pressure of a 12x swarm. This cannot be the way that 60MX envisioned this would go. Reinforcements crawling into the desert altar, keeping it alive. Swarmers, healthy as can be, applying pressure. A few swarmers rotate off to deal with field. I didn't expect that. Garrison, oh, captain down. Ethel primary, garrison falls. WIB now the owners of 4 altars simultaneously. This is turning into a steamroll. WIB is carrying the momentum and excitement from those arc captures into a full hold on 4 altars. Devastating field position, devastating structure game. WIB is taking no prisoners in today's matchup. But 60MX, not content to surrender without a fight. Swarm is in on the desert altar, but that Harrow YSS is shredding the swarmers. .60MX needs to regroup and figure out how they're going to handle this. Meanwhile, they're looking to attack the Sky Altar, but brilliantly placed vision is enabling the blue team to see that red is waiting. That is an expertly placed sentry. Textbook value gained from that sentry. The full information as to the scope and direction of the attack. And now it's on its way. MX creeping in on the Sky Altar. WIB engages. .15 minutes remain. Arc has been captured. Rally arriving. Justinian Nevsky. WIB creating space between 60MX, the rally, and the garrison. Meanwhile, rallies pass by each other. Wulin Nevsky rally going downfield. 60MX forces arriving to support. Nature's Gift activated in my alliance. GG. From here, big pressure on the Sky Altar. That rally gets swarmed out real fast. You know, Justinian is very good for the thing he's good at, and that is rallying. But he is not actually so great at taking a swarm. From here, WIB looking to hold Jan Ziska at the helm. Great swarm from 60MX looking to close. And capture. MX now at the helm, but no captain. Will WIB be able to counter swarm? They are trying. But do they have enough? The garrison is actually melting. 6 minutes till the next arc. WIB has accrued enough lead that it might not even matter if they lose it. And they get the altar back. Meanwhile, MX chilling on 3 altars. That is the sort of momentum swing they need, but they have to maintain it. WIB takes an altar back, and the map is relatively even with the exception of WIB downfield disruption. Don't mind my Gaius Marius. With the infantry, tier 5 siege and tier 4 siege, that's now going to gather probably at this resource node or wherever they're going. It's kind of hard to say. Probably searching for a resource node. Meanwhile, at the outpost of Seth, I'm not sure why they're going to the far side of the outpost. I thought, I'd say, oh, look, they took the outpost. Hello? You just here to hold hands? What is this? Thank you. Holy moly. Most likely what's going on is that you've got a player multitasking, playing marches in multiple places at once. But it is funny to watch them stand there for a second. They're going to try to swarm this thing down. I really don't know why Ethel Trajan would be locked in as a captain of a garrison. But it is an outpost, and outposts are, a bit of a grab bag for how they're handled in many cases. So let's go look somewhere else. Shrine of War under pressure. Mid-fight getting set up. WIB is here. They don't need this arc, but they're going to go for it. It's kind of an interesting strategy, to be honest. If you're WIB, you have 2 options here. Option 1 is to just take the arc. And if you take this arc, you definitely win, right? Option 2 is to say, you know what? We have enough of a lead here. If we can kind of fake them out, we make them go to the middle, but we hold their buildings for a while. We get enough building points that they can have the stinking arc. It doesn't matter. WIB has lots of good options. MX is in an almost unwinnable position, however. They would need to hold all the buildings and get this arc. And I just don't know that that's something they're going to be able to do. Great sentry placed by blue. Lot of intel that they're working with. In red, they also see a lot. Remember when I said this sentry placement from MX was really expert? I told you it was like a 12-minute window of relevance for all of this going down. That sentry was really good. That's why they put this other one here, probably, to give a slightly bigger area of view than what the temple affords. A little Sun Tzu emoji with some apprehension. 60MX crawls forward. MX looking to get this arc. Bit of disruption in the back. They should look to reset those marches as fast as they can and try and get back to the mid-fight, under the assumption it might last long enough. Hard to say. Map is otherwise even. WIB is looking like they have more players here. Am I imagining this? MX, balled up. WIB, balled up with more players coming by the second. MX is on their way, but they got a lot of folks just kind of chilling in other parts of the map. I don't think that MX is committing enough to the middle. And I think this undercommit to mid is costing them dearly. I could be wrong, but I think MX is undercommitted to the middle. And WIB is sending everything they have. 8 minutes remain in the match. 35 seconds till arc spawns. Both teams stalling. Here it comes. Total vision for MX. Dust up for MX. WIB. Total vision. WIB. Dust up. Mirrored gameplay. End the engage. Heaven's Grace for MX. Where is the match from WIB? Are they missing the points to do it? Could this Heaven's Grace be the difference maker? The only way to know how this fight is going is to zoom out. And as silly as it is to look at the sad faces, let's get a peek. I would call this fight even. Lot of sad face for blue. Moderate to high amount of sad face for red. It's even, I would say. This is anyone's fight to win. Intense brawl happening now. In the middle. For the arc. At this point, I don't think it matters who gets the arc from the standpoint of who wins or loses. This is about pride. WIB briefly holds the arc. MX reinforcements arriving at a crucial moment. WIB with the arc again. Looking to position it more favorably and hold on. WIB has won. The viewers didn't expect this. The voters didn't expect this. But WIB shatters a 3-arc victory against MX. Very impressive gameplay from WIB in 846, securing the final arc. But let's not call the arc captured until it's captured. With a 7,000 point differential, if MX can attack through the corner, perhaps they can delay this arc or score it for themselves. So let's see if they can make it happen. Surprisingly, some marches going the wrong way, they reorient. Okay, just kidding. All forces concentrating their firepower on the arc. At this point, truly nothing else matters. To win from here, I don't think MX even has an attack vector that can accomplish it. MX moving in, but they're too slow. Or is perhaps the ARC carrier too slow? This is when I need a soundboard with a funny set of music to play. Because that thing is crawling. 2 minutes and 40 seconds? I mean, technically they've got time. I just don't know realistically that they can get there through the wall of WIB defenders. Arvik's rally on its way in. Justinian primary. Colliding with the garrison. Hera YSS in the defense. WIB looking to create a wall of activity, stopping MX from reaching the arc. And I think they've accomplished it. MX is gummed up at the altar. A few players peel off to go for the arc. But that arc, at their 2 minute and 40 pace, now down to 30 seconds. When this arc lands in Powhatan City, that will be the nail in the coffin. This capture, almost entirely uncontested, will lock it in. A valiant effort to get the carrier, and they do knock them down. At the doorstep of Powhatan City, an opportunity arises to perhaps have marches here to get this arc again. And they do it, but the arc falls. Can they stall for 2 minutes to make the final score closer? And if they do, does it even matter? WIB picks up the arc and dunks it in the city. 35,000, almost 36,000 to 24,000. Locking in their win. WIB has got to be feeling good about the outcome of this match. .60 MX. Strong gameplay and an impressive opener, but ultimately unable to conquer the mid-fights. Hard push activated by MX. Very fun gameplay in this Arc of Osiris. Big shout out of congratulations to both .60 MX and WIB for some amazing gameplay, and certainly the closest game that I've spectated and most exciting game I've spectated in quite a while. Very fun. Although the score is not as close as the game felt, I'll tell you that this game felt a lot closer than what we see on the board. Congratulations again to WIB on their victory. If you've enjoyed today's live stream, throw a like on the stream and consider subscribing. Again, you can also find my channel linked in the description for daily videos designed to help you get value and smash your enemies. This is a big win for WIB. They will advance. Final score. We're looking at 36,990 to 25,233. 3 arcs for WIB. And a very impressive 2,791 points of provision score for the Hawks. I have a feeling that if perhaps those marches were at the mid-fights instead of provisioning, maybe this would be a slightly different outcome, but that WIB presence was very commanding. A big shout out again to both teams. If you enjoyed the stream, throw a like on here. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom. We'll see you next week for more Ark of Osiris League gameplay.